Welcome to Let Jesus Be Your Doctor, the true path to healing for body and soul.
What if the most painful moments of your life were not, punishments?
Right. What if they weren't retributions at all?
Yeah. What if they were, emergency rescue operations for your soul?
That's a heavy thought to start with.
It is. But today, we're looking at a spiritual diagnosis that completely flips how we view our own suffering. I mean, we are looking at the deepest, most hidden fractures within the human spirit.
The stuff we usually try to ignore.
Exactly. And we're going to explore a remedy that honestly defies every modern instinct we have about healing. So if you're listening to this, wherever you are, whatever you're carrying today, we're asking you to do something, unusual.
We are asking you to stop.
Just stop.
Yeah. Stop rushing. Stop anticipating the next task on your schedule.
Let the frantic, vibrating pace of the day just fall away. Let it drift into the background. Because today's deep dive is it's not a fast-paced analytical breakdown of data.
Right. It's not a checklist of facts for you to memorize.
No. We are stepping across the threshold today. We're entering a sanctuary for the mind and more importantly, for the spirit.
We are slowing everything down.
Yeah.
Because the material we're exploring today, it really requires a different kind of listening.
It does.
It requires the kind of listening you do with your heart, not just your intellect. We are immersing ourselves in a profoundly beautiful, deeply contemplative audio broadcast.
And that broadcast is titled, Let Jesus Be Your Doctor, the True Path to Healing for Body and Soul.
Such a powerful title.
It really is. And specifically, we're spending our entire time today dwelling inside episode 2 of that series, an episode titled The Cleansing of the Soul.
Or, in the original language of the broadcast, Reinigung der Seele.
Right. And the voices, the spiritual figures featured in this source material, they are remarkable in their depth.
Oh, absolutely. We are going to examine the profound and honestly challenging revelations of the mystic Bertha Dude.
Yes. And we're going to look closely at the mechanics of spiritual surrender taught by the famous 1950s spiritual healer Bruno Groening.
We'll also ground these concepts in the ancient, raw, biblical wisdom of King David.
And we'll weave in the theological insights of Derek Prince and Louisa Picaretta.
It's a rich tapestry. And our mission for this deep dive is to gently but thoroughly take apart the mechanics of spiritual healing.
We're going to ask the questions that, keep us awake at night. Like, how does the divine actually interact with our deepest, most hidden pains?
Right. When we're broken, what is the actual mechanism of repair?
Exactly. What is the true relationship between our suffering, the presence of divine love, and ultimately the purity of our souls?
And we aren't just going to talk about these concepts abstractly either.
No, we're not. We are going to culminate this deep dive by walking you, the listener, through a practical guided meditation.
Taken directly, word for word, from the source material.
So this is an invitation. We know that you, listening to us right now, carry invisible burdens.
We all do.
Yeah. Some of them are heavy. Some of them have been carried for decades.
So we invite you to approach the next hour, not as a student taking notes, but as a participant.
A participant who is weary, perhaps, and ready to be spiritually renewed.
So let's begin at the beginning. Let's look at the diagnosis.
The source material starts by acknowledging a quiet, haunting reality. It states that there are moments in our lives, often when we're completely alone, when the noise of the world fades, when we feel that something deep inside of us is darkened.
Darkened, burdened, injured.
Yeah. It's a heaviness that sleep just doesn't fix.
And the text is very specific about the anatomy of this darkness. It doesn't speak in vague terms about sadness.
Right. It doesn't just say feeling down.
Exactly. It lists the actual elements that weigh down the spirit. It says we carry, and I quote, old thoughts, unforgiveness, feelings of guilt, and bitterness.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's pull those apart slowly, because we cannot understand the cure until we fully comprehend the disease.
Right.
Imagine carrying a heavy, overstuffed backpack.
Oh, I like this analogy.
Yeah, so imagine this backpack is filled with actual rocks. And one rock is labeled bitterness. Another is labeled old regrets. Unforgiveness. We carry this everywhere. And the straps are digging into our shoulders, but we get so used to the weight that we forget what it feels like to walk upright.
We just accept the pain as normal.
Exactly. We think, well, this is just how life feels. We loop these old thoughts like spiritual static that blocks at the present moment.
And then there's unforgiveness, which is one of those rocks in the backpack. This is perhaps the most insidious.
It really is. Unforgiveness is like a poison we drink, hoping the other person will die.
Wow.
Yeah.
We hold on to grudges as if they're armor. Right.
Right. We think that if we forgive, we're somehow minimizing the harm that was done to us. But the broadcast classifies this unforgiveness not as armor, but as a burden. It's a weight that drags the soul downward into the dark.
Then we have feelings of guilt, that quiet, relentless shame that whispers in the dark.
Telling you that you are fundamentally flawed, not just that you made a mistake, but that you are a mistake.
Which naturally breeds the final element, bitterness. Bitterness is what happens when pain is left untreated in the dark. It is the slow petrification of the human heart.
And when we're in that state, when our hearts have turned to stone, when our backpack is so heavy we can barely stand, human nature dictates that we hide.
We flinch. If someone approaches us, we expect to be judged for the heaviness we carry.
Right, we expect a gavel to fall. We think if God sees this backpack, he's going to condemn me for carrying these rocks.
God isn't ripping the backpack off, and he's not bringing a gavel.
No. The source says he brings a gentle light. He's gently knocking, asking us to open the backpack.
The broadcast introduces this radical departure from human justice. The divine light approaches this darkened, burdened soul not to condemn and not to judge. It comes solely to cleanse.
It's a gentle knock.
Very gentle.
And there's this hauntingly beautiful phrase in the source about how this cleansing happens. It says healing happens in the deepest part of us, exactly where pain and love meet.
Where pain and love meet.
Let's just dwell on that for a second. Why must love touch the pain directly?
Because true spiritual healing requires vulnerability. We cannot heal what we hide from the light. Anything less than love is insufficient. If you apply logic to a burdened heart, nothing happens.
Right. You can't logic your way out of that heavy backpack.
Exactly. And if you apply willpower, you just become a more disciplined person carrying a heavy backpack. The burden is still there.
We try to insulate our pain. We hide it in the darkest basement of our minds because exposing the wound feels like death.
It feels like death because exposing a wound to human eyes often results in rejection. But the text says healing only occurs where divine love makes direct contact with the raw pain.
So if the divine light is gently knocking, waiting for us to open the door, how exactly does this cleansing process work when we finally open it?
This leads us to the profound and, I have to say, challenging revelations of Bertha Dudd.
Yes. We need to tread carefully here because Dudd's insights do not offer easy platitudes.
They really don't. The text cites Bertha Dudd's Kundgabe, which is a revelation or proclamation number 6.715. It's titled Cleansing of the Soul.
And what does she say?
The broadcast quotes her recording the voice of the divine. She writes, "I want to cleanse your souls from all darkness, but you must open the doors to me." And then she adds this foundational rule: not by force, but love works the cleansing.
Okay, so again, we see the absolute requirement of consent. God won't rip the backpack off by force. Love must be invited.
But once that door is opened, Dudd states that everyone must go through a cleansing bath to be free from sin and its consequences.
A cleansing bath, that implies total immersion. But the way this bath is administered, this is where it gets really interesting, but also, well, a bit difficult to swallow.
It does. Dudd's revelation states that earthly life will continually provide opportunities for this thorough cleansing through suffering and distress.
Suffering and distress.
Yes, she claims that these painful experiences are actually healing for the soul.
Okay, I have to offer a gentle pushback here on behalf of anyone listening. If you are going through a brutal divorce, or you've just lost someone, or you are battling a chronic illness, hearing that your suffering is a prescribed cleansing bath sounds incredibly harsh.
It really does.
How do we reconcile a loving God with the necessity of a path of suffering?
What's fascinating here is the hierarchy of cleansing that Dudd outlines. Suffering is not God's first choice. It is the absolute last resort.
Okay, explain that hierarchy. What's the first choice?
Dudd is explicitly stating that love is the primary, most effective tool. Specifically, active love directed toward God and our neighbor. The text says that whoever practices love helps their soul to a joyful purification.
Joyful purification. That sounds much better.
Right. She says love dissolves the hardest shells. Nothing can resist it. It frees the soul.
The hardest shells. Let's look at that metaphor. When we get hurt, we build shells of cynicism, right? Shells of anger. We encase our spirits in thick layers of ego so nobody can hurt us again.
Yes. And Dudd is saying that active love acts as a solvent. If humanity practiced active love, the shells would melt organically. We'd never need the painful scrubbing of distress.
Blood.
But Because humanity's love has grown cold, cultivating love so little, our souls remain in this tragic, rigid, unhappy state. So help must be brought another way.
The soul must walk a path of suffering.
Exactly. Suffering is framed not as divine punishment, but as a divine rescue operation.
A rescue operation, because if a creature outgrows its shell, but the shell won't dissolve, it will suffocate inside its own armor.
Wow, yes. God looks at us suffocating in our self-made prisons of bitterness and says, if they won't allow love to melt the shell, I must break the shell to save them.
It makes me think about times in my own life, or for the listener right now, think about a difficult period of suffering you went through, a time that felt completely meaningless in the moment.
It just hurts while you're in it.
It does. But when you finally emerged, didn't it strip away your ego? Didn't it leave you with a deeper capacity for compassion? That compassion is love. The distress cracked the shell, and love rushed in.
The suffering was the alternative medicine required to let the light in.
It's a profound way to view our darkest chapters. But while Dud shows us the absolute necessity of this cleansing bath, another figure in our sources shows us how to actively receive it without relying solely on suffering.
Yes, and we turn now to Bruno Groening.
Groening is such an intriguing figure.
He was a famous spiritual healer in Germany during the 1950s. He achieved miraculous healings through what he called the divine healing stream, or in German, the Göttlicher Heilstrom.
The Göttlicher Heilstrom. So we're moving from Dud's imagery of breaking shells to Groening's metaphor of water.
Exactly. Groening taught, whoever wants to be pure must take the power of God into themselves. Like water washes away dirt, so the healing stream washes away all impurities.
And this power, how do we get it? Because we are so used to working on ourselves.
We love a good self-improvement project.
We do. We think, I'm burdened, so I need to scrub my own soul with spiritual elbow grease.
But Groening says it's not about effort. It's about what he called inner Hingabe, inner surrender.
Inner surrender. So what does this all mean for our daily lives? If it's not effort, what is it?
Think of Groening's water metaphor synthesized with Dud's teachings. Water naturally finds the lowest point to wash away debris.
Right. It flows down.
So the divine healing stream requires us to lower our defenses. We have to drop our guilt, stop our anxious, frantic efforts to fix ourselves, and simply allow the current to pass through us.
By opening the heart and letting go of guilt, God's light flows in.
Making the soul feel new, light, free, and alive.
But letting go of control feels terrifying. We fear that the water will wash away us, that we'll lose who we are.
The broadcast clarifies this beautifully. It says God cleanses to heal. He takes nothing good from us. He only dissolves what separates us from him.
He only dissolves the dirt. Your true, vibrant self is left perfectly intact. But to fully surrender, we must be willing to be completely honest with ourselves. We can't surrender dirt that we refuse to admit is there.
And this brings us to the profound role of truth in the cleansing process. The broadcast weaves together King David, Derek Prince, and Louisa Picaretta to explore this light of truth.
Let's start with King David, Psalm 51, verse 12.
Create in me, O God, a pure heart, and renew a steadfast spirit within me.
The broadcast points out that this shows cleansing is always tied to a new beginning, and it gives this incredible definition. A pure heart isn't a flawless heart, but one ready to be touched.
Ready to be touched. I love that.
It's amazing, right? A pure heart isn't a museum piece kept behind glass without a speck of dust. It's more like, it's like a beautifully crafted stained glass window.
A stained glass window.
Yeah. It might have cracks. It has leaded seams. It's not perfect glass, but its purpose isn't to be flawless. Its purpose is to let the light shine through.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, look at Derek Prince's focus on truth. He says the Holy Spirit cleanses through the light of truth.
The light of truth. And truth is often uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. Because the light reveals what was hidden. Exposing our hidden bitterness feels terrifying because we fear shame. We expect condemnation.
But Prince insists it is not a shame. It is an invitation to be whole. If you humble yourself and allow the truth, God will cleanse and restore you.
You just have to stand in the light, which leads right into Louisa Picaretta. She writes on the cleansing power of the divine will.
And she uses a different element, doesn't she?
She does. Groening gave us water, but Picaretta gives us fire. She says the divine light is like a fire of love that consumes everything impure.
Fire can be scary.
But she makes a crucial distinction. It doesn't burn. It transforms. The more a soul accepts this light, the more transparent, peaceful, and godlike it becomes.
It only burns away the false self, the ego, the bitterness, leaving the true, transparent soul behind.
It's a beautiful progression.
It really is. We've explored the theology, the mechanics, the nature of this cleansing. Now, as the source text beautifully dictates, it's time to move from intellectual understanding to spiritual experience.
Yes. The broadcast concludes with a powerful practical application, a guided cleansing meditation.
And we are going to guide you through this exactly as the source text dictates.
So if you are driving or operating machinery, please just listen, keep your eyes open.
But if you are in a safe place to do so, we invite you to close your eyes,
Take a breath
calm and even.
and prepare your heart.
Let your physical body respond to the decision to surrender. Stop holding yourself together so tightly.
Imagine a radiant white golden light above you.
Just gentle light.
It descends slowly, like a gentle rain of love.
Feel how this light touches your heart.
All the darkness,
Yeah.
all the guilt, all the heaviness, they dissolve in the light.
You don't have to fight it. Just let it dissolve.
This light is the light of truth, and it now shows you clearly everything you have done that was not right.
Look at it.
Accept no excuses. The truth does not want to punish. It wants to cleanse and renew.
Look at every single event in the light of truth.
Again, accept no excuses. Let the light touch the wound.
And the cleansing light of truth now goes deeper. It shows you all the events where you should have done something, but didn't.
Where you knew it was not right to stay passive.
Look at it all, the action and the inaction.
Stay in the truth. Accept no excuses.
This light of truth is your conscience awakening.
So say quietly within yourself, Lord, cleanse my heart so that your love can dwell in me.
May the cleansing light of God flow through your thoughts and feelings today.
May it release you from everything that burdens you and revive your heart anew.
When God touches the heart, everything becomes pure,
Everything clear.
everything new.
Amen.
Yeah.
Just stay in that peace for a moment. Notice the quiet in your mind.
The profound peace that comes when the heart is made pure, clear, and new. When you are ready, you can gently open your eyes. We've journeyed through so much today, from acknowledging our hidden burdens to understanding Dud's revelation of love over suffering.
We accepted groaning's healing stream, and we faced Prince's light of truth.
And the source text actually closes by looking forward to its next broadcast. It says, "Forgiveness and liberation when the heart breathes freely again."
Which makes perfect sense. Once you're cleansed, you have the space to breathe and forgive.
But before we go, we want to leave you with a final thought to mull over on your own.
We learned today that if we do not actively practice love, our souls require the painful cleansing of suffering to crack our hard shells.
So as you go back into the world with a newly cleansed heart, what is one specific, deliberate act of love you can perform today to keep that shell from ever hardening again?
What is one thing you can do today?
Thank you so much for taking this deep dive with us today, for slowing down and opening your heart. We'll see you next time.